Let's dive deep into the one holiday where wearing a cape and eating tiny chocolate bars at 9 a.m. needs zero explanation. Halloween.
It really is the ultimate adult permission slip for, just being whimsical. And the sources you sent over for this deep dive, fantastic.
Yeah.
You asked us to help recapture that specific kind of beautiful magic of childhood Halloween.
Right, like the smell of burnt cork for a witch's nose, or just the pure joy of a plastic pumpkin bucket.
Exactly. But, and this is crucial, you need sophisticated ways to celebrate that aren't just wild raves or eating a jack-o'-lantern-shaped pizza, though sometimes pizza helps.
Okay, a noble goal indeed. So our mission today is basically to synthesize the whole story, right?
Yeah.
From the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain.
All the way through to, I think we counted 23 distinct activities adults can actually get into now.
We need that balance, yeah, between understanding the really profound historical weight of it all.
And figuring out how to have actual practical fun. Let's make this actionable.
I find the evolution just fascinating. Okay, let's unpack this. Starting right at the beginning, before the candy, before the costumes we know today. Back when it was all about, like, sacred bonfires and soul cakes.
Soul cakes, yeah. This journey takes us about 2,000 years back to the ancient Celts.
Okay.
Primarily living in the area that's now Ireland, the UK, and northern France. They celebrated a festival called Samhain. It's Samhain, but pronounced Samhain.
Samhain, got it. So wait, it wasn't just a fun harvest party. Sounds more like a survival marker heading into the dark part of the year.
Oh, it was everything. Samhain marked the end of summer, the end of the harvest, which was vital, and the start of the dark, cold winter.
Which naturally gets associated with death, the unknown.
Precisely. And the core belief, the really big one for the Celts, was that on the night of October 31st, the veil, the boundary between the living and the dead, it got incredibly thin. Blurred. Allowing ghosts of the dead to return to Earth. Which sounds like it could cause some problems. Damaging crops, maybe just generally being unsettling. Definitely unsettling. And this is where the Druids, the Celtic priests, came in. They actually saw the presence of spirits as an opportunity.
An opportunity? How?
Well, they believed that having spirits so close made it easier to make predictions about the future, which was, a critical source of comfort and guidance heading into a long, tough winter.
Okay, that makes sense. But if the spirits were everywhere, potentially hostile, why costumes? Why not just lock the doors?
That's a great question. So, to mark the night and maybe ward off unwelcome visitors, the Druids built these huge sacred bonfires. People gathered there.
Right.
And the Celts wore costumes, often pretty crudely made animal heads, animal skins.
Yeah.
The whole point was concealment.
Concealment.
Yeah, to disguise themselves as fellow spirits so they could move among the returned ghosts without being detected. It was basically protection.
Wow, that is such a heavy context. I'm just picturing it sacrificing crops, animals, wearing animal skins, and then thinking about today, kids in store-bought Elsa costumes demanding Snickers. It's a bizarre cultural journey.
It really shows how culture just grabs history and runs with it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, things start to blend around AD 43. That's when the Roman Empire conquered a lot of Celtic territory.
Okay, Roman influence coming in.
Right. They ruled for about 400 years, so naturally they mixed in a couple of their own festivals with Samhain.
Which ones?
Well, they had Feralia, a day in late October for commemorating the dead. Similar themes there.
Okay.
And maybe more importantly for our modern fun, they had a day honoring Pomona. She was the Roman goddess of fruit and trees.
Ah.
That's our first huge connection. Pomona's symbol is the apple.
Right.
So that Roman addition is likely, very likely, the origin of bobbing for apples on Halloween. It's amazing how these different ancient rituals just merge together.
It really is intricate. So what was the final historical step?
That would be Christian blending. As Christianity spread into Celtic lands, this is like 8th, 9th centuries, the church started to, absorb or integrate the existing pagan celebrations. Smart move, really.
And this is where the name comes from, right?
Exactly. Pope Gregory III designated November 1st to honor All Saints Day, also known as All Hallows or All Hallowmas.
Hallows meaning saints.
Right. So the night before, the traditional night of Samhain became All Hallows Eve, which eventually got shortened down to Halloween.
Yeah, it is.
And they kept building on it. Around 1000 AD, the church made November 2nd All Souls Day, and it was celebrated really similarly to old Samhain bonfires, parades, people dressing up.
But dressing up as specific things.
Yeah, specifically as saints, angels, and devils. Less animal skins, more religious figures.
Okay, so this leads us to trick-or-treating, which, as you said, has a complex origin. Not just kids demanding candy.
Not at all. It probably stems from those All Souls Day parades in England. Poor citizens would beg for food.
Right.
And families would give them these little sweet pastries called soul cakes.
Soul cakes, what was the deal with those?
The exchange was pretty simple but spiritually heavy. The beggar gets the food in return for promising to pray for the family's dead relatives. This practice was called going a-souling.
Going a-souling.
Yeah, and the church actually encouraged it, saw it as a direct replacement for the old pagan habit of leaving food and wine out for actual roaming spirits.
Wow. It's incredible how that idea, exchanging prayers for food, a spiritual transaction, eventually turned into kids demanding chocolate for not egging your house. That's quite a shift.
A powerful example of secularization over centuries, yeah.
So let's jump forward to America. I know Halloween had kind of a slow start here.
It did, especially in colonial New England. The rigid Protestant beliefs limited it quite a bit. But it was more common down south, in Maryland and the southern colonies.
What did those early American celebrations look like?
Much more focused on the harvest. They had play parties, basic community gatherings, telling stories of the dead, some fortune-telling, dancing, singing, neighborly stuff.
But it didn't really become a national thing until later.
Not until the second half of the 19th century. And that was largely thanks to the huge wave of Irish immigrants fleeing the potato famine. They brought their vibrant traditions with them.
Okay, so the Irish influence really kicked it up a notch.
Definitely. But what's interesting is by the late 1800s, there was this conscious push from community leaders, newspapers, to kind of sanitize the holiday.
Sanitize it? How?
They wanted to mold it into a community event focused on neighborly get-togethers, games, seasonal food, trying to strip out anything too frightening or grotesque, make it more palatable maybe.
And that sort of leads into the modern trick-or-treating revival.
Exactly. That push culminated between, say, 1920 and 1950. Halloween mischief and vandalism, especially during the Depression, became a real problem. Tricks were common.
So the treat part was damage control.
Pretty much. The theory was that giving out small, inexpensive treats was a way for the whole community to share in the celebration and, very practically, prevent vandalism. Keep the kids busy with sugar instead of soaping windows.
That prevention idea ties perfectly into how costumes changed, too. You mentioned the ancient Celts wore skins for concealment, right? To avoid the ghosts.
Yeah, the focus was totally on not being recognized. By the early 20th century, costumes still often hid your identities. Witches, ghosts, black cats were popular themes.
And mostly homemade.
Almost always homemade.
Yeah.
Partly because store-bought ones, those box costumes, were expensive. Especially during the Great Depression, that was a luxury. So you saw lots of homemade mummies from rags, simple sheet ghosts.
But then the inspiration shifted dramatically.
It really did. The 1950s and 60s, you start seeing costumes inspired by current events like Sputnik, and definitely by expanding pop culture. TV characters, movie stars.
And the 70s and 80s brought slasher films.
Oh, yeah. Films like Halloween, Friday the 13th made costumes generally more gruesome. More blood, more masks.
And political satire, too.
Yeah.
Nixon masks.
Surprisingly popular. Presidential masks, especially Nixon's, became a big thing. A different kind of scare, maybe.
And then the 90s basically cemented the sexy version of everything as a commercial staple.
Yep. Sexy nurse, sexy firefighter, sexy anything, really, became a huge commercial category.
So we've gone from hiding from the dead to basically broadcasting our pop culture knowledge or, well, showing off.
The costume totally stopped being about protection and started being about performance, about identity display.
A powerful summary of how we engage with it now.
Absolutely.
Okay, speaking of performance, let's pivot. Let's talk about the modern solution for the adult who wants more than just, grabbing a quick pizza on October 31st. We want that sophisticated enjoyment.
Right, recapturing the magic.
Exactly. We've got this list of 23 activities. Let's break them down into categories to help people choose.
Okay, let's start with the high-energy stuff. Immersive experiences. These usually need some planning. Definitely involve leaving the house.
We're talking the big theme park events.
Yeah, like Universal's Halloween Horror Nights, Disney's Oogie Boogie Bash, Knott's Scary Farm, those massive productions.
Or maybe something high quality but more local, like Knights of the Jack out here in Southern California with all the carved pumpkins, or finding a good local haunted hayride.
For sure. Or just a quick adrenaline hit. Visit a professional haunted house. Or Maybe something a bit more grounded in reality, like a haunted history tour of your city?
Ooh, I like those. They dig into local legends, maybe unmarked graves, creepy architectural stuff.
Exactly. And your personal favorite for a group.
Has to be the Halloween-themed escape room challenge. The source put it perfectly. Teamwork makes the scream work.
Ah, love
I
that.
get the theme, the thrill, but, zero risk of actual ghost encounters. Probably.
Okay, so if you want to dial back the adrenaline a bit and lean into that pure childhood feeling, we move to nostalgia and games.
Yes, this is the retro Halloween party. You got to get those vintage plastic jack-o'-lantern buckets bob for apples.
Oh, definitely Bob's for apples.
And set up that game where you try to catch donuts hanging from a string, no hands, all while screening. It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, pure comfort food for the soul.
That sounds amazing. And you can make the competition feel a bit more grown-up, less like just a kid's party.
How so?
Host a serious pumpkin carving contest. Have judges, maybe a prize. Or try a Halloween trivia night. You can even find digital question packs online, like on Etsy, if you don't want to write them all yourself.
Good tip. Or make the costume the main event, a highly specific themed costume contest.
Ooh, like what?
Don't just award best costume. Make it like most iconic 2000s rapper or best interpretation of a classic movie villain. Forces creativity.
I like that. And creative outlets are great for bonding, too, like a Halloween DIY crafts night.
Yeah. That trend of thrifted ghost paintings is so cute. Find an old landscape painting at a thrift store and just add a simple little ghost figure.
That's brilliant. Or if you want a slightly more mystical vibe, maybe a witchcraft workshop.
Ooh, tell me more.
Keep it fun and light,
Yeah.
Making potions, which could just be cool cocktails, or writing little personalized intention spells. Gather your coven.
Huh. Love it. Okay, finally, for the more mature, low-key socializing.
Elevating gatherings. If you're up for a big effort, host a murder mystery dinner. Those kits are everywhere now and
Yes.
really force people to interact.
That takes commitment, but yeah, very fun. Or aim for just pure visual sophistication. A gothic dinner party.
Okay, paint me a picture.
Black candles, maybe silver candelabras, dark, moody food like beetroot risotto. Really lean into the aesthetic.
Nice. And for that gothic dinner, you got to remember the details, like serve a blood orange cocktail or something to match. The color sells it.
Good point. What if it's more about drinks than a full dinner?
Then go for a spooky cocktail party. Theme your drinks, zombie punch, witch's brew. Use dry ice for that smoky effect. And maybe make it BYOC. Bring your own cocktail ingredient. Helps manage costs.
Smart. And for maximum chill.
Super low-key options. A spooky book club night. Read a horror or mystery novel. Maybe meet on Halloween night itself. Discuss Dracula by candlelight.
Very atmospheric.
Or even a spooky spa night.
Mm-hmm.
Think self-care with a theme. Charcoal face masks, pumpkin spice body scrubs, that kind of thing.
Okay, that list is wonderfully comprehensive. I might need a spreadsheet just to plan my October.
Huh. Well, speaking of planning and scale, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. The thing connecting history to modern fun.
Yeah.
The sheer size of Halloween commercially.
It's huge, and it feels like it gets bigger every year. It's solidly the second biggest commercial holiday in the U.S. now, right? Only Christmas beats it.
That's right. And the numbers are pretty staggering. Americans are spending over $11 billion a year on Halloween.
$11 billion, wow.
And here's a wild stat that shows where some of that goes. 1/4, 25% of all the candy sold annually in the U.S. is bought just for Halloween.
That explains why the grocery store aisles basically turn into chocolate tunnels in October.
Yeah.
But it's not just candy, is it?
Not even close. Get this. Americans spend $700 million on costumes for their pets in 2023.
$700 million on pet costumes.
Yep. Tiny capes for cats, little hot dog outfits for dogs.
Yep.
It's a massive market.
That's stunning. It really shows a shift towards luxury and, well, fun. But, okay, for our listeners, practicality matters. How do you navigate this $11 billion holiday without breaking the bank?
Good question. Our sources had tips. For costumes, DIY is your friend. Raid your closet, hit thrift stores for base items. Use simple household stuff like trash bags or crepe paper for accessories. Get creative.
Makes sense. And for parties?
Don't shoulder the whole burden. Ask guests to bring a dish potluck style. Or make it BYOB, bring your own beverage. That slashes costs immediately.
And entertainment doesn't have to be expensive.
Exactly. The best stuff is often free and nostalgic. Organize that pumpkin carving contest, bob for apples, have a spooky movie marathon with stuff you can stream.
Great tips. Now, to bring us all the way back, let's touch on that forgotten historical bit, connecting practical magic to modern fun. You mentioned Halloween wasn't just about the dead.
Right. Historically, it often had a big focus on matchmaking and predicting the future, kind of reflecting that original druidic need for comfort and answers during dark times.
That detail is so powerful, like the Irish tradition from the 18th century.
Yeah, where the cook would hide a ring in the mashed potatoes on Halloween night. Whoever found it in their serving was supposedly destined for true love soon.
Imagine finding a ring in your potatoes.
Huh. And in Scotland, they had this practice of tossing hazelnuts into the fireplace. Each nut was named for a potential suitor.
And
Well, the nut that burned steadily to ashes instead of popping or exploding was said to represent your future spouse. Or, depending on the version of the legend, it meant a long and happy love. Bit of pyromancy for romance.
amazing. So we've really covered the gamut. From ancient Samhain rituals trying to predict the hard winter and protect the community.
All the way to planning a sophisticated Gothic dinner party or a, most iconic 2000s rapper costume contest.
The thread connecting it all across 2,000 years seems to be this human need to confront the darkness, literal or metaphorical, and find comfort, community, maybe a bit of fun, whether that's through prayer, prediction, or pizza.
Well said. And maybe here's a final thought to chew on, something provocative as you plan your own celebration.
Right.
Remember the ancient Celts. They wore costumes, animal skins, specifically to avoid being recognized by ghosts, to disguise themselves, blend in, for protection.
Right, concealment.
Today, we spend hundreds of millions of dollars on costumes for our pets. This holiday began rooted in a kind of spiritual fear, a fear of the dark, the unknown, the otherworldly.
Yeah.
So consider what that huge shift from fearful protective ritual to this massive commercialized, often exuberant fun. What does that say about our connection or maybe disconnection to the otherworldly today? What are we really celebrating or avoiding now?
Wow. That's a really great question to ponder, maybe while enjoying your share of that $11 billion candy haul. Thank you so much for sharing all these
My
sources for this
pleasure.
deep dive. We hope you, our listener, take the spirit of Samhain, whether that means predicting the future or just, hiding from the neighbors in a clever costume, and make this year's celebration uniquely your own.